this fight is not going to change my lifestyle financially. I'm a fighter. I feel good. I can do it. I feel I can beat this guy.
Come on.
God, when these guys are offering me many more, it's just it's fun too.
So you want to keep doing it?
It's a possibility, yeah. It's kind of fun. Only thing that's pretty tricky is getting in shape.
In a recent interview with boxing legend Andre Ward, Mike Tyson has revealed shocking new details about his upcoming bout with Jake Paul, commenting on how things might not be as they seem, providing further inside scoop on what went on. Mike stated that during his fight with Roy Jones Jr. way back in 2020, the deal between him and Jake Paul was already in progression due to the involvement of various major stakeholders and promotional companies in the boxing industry.
So, I really don't know. I had fought the exhibition with Roy Jones.
Yes.
And he was on the card. And as time went on, he started building a name for himself. It was a no-brainer that the two of us should get together, and we made a decision. So they know it got Roy Jones got involved, and other fighters, Holyfield got involved, and then it turned into a fiasco. And then the young guy, Jake Paul, he got involved then, and that's how the birth of Jake Paul.
Addressing the claims that he is only participating in this event for the sake of money, Mike blasted at his haters, emphasizing that as a fighter, he will always want to step inside the ring, and he thought that it was a great opportunity, especially considering the dire state of modern-day boxing.
If you think I'm too old for this fight, you need to come tell me in my face.
Whoa. You won't?
This is what the world needs. You know, I know it sounds crazy, but this is what the world really needs right now.
You fighting Jake Paul is what the world needs.
Yeah, well, listen, the pay-per-views prove it, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So that's the truth. But I know it looks crazy. You look at a YouTube guy, you look at me, but look what we brought here. Look what we did. You know, that's not funny at all.
No, it's very serious.
Yeah, now that's not funny at all. You can't laugh at.
Talking about the astronomical number of potential viewers this fight will garner, Mike stated that at the end of the day, it is not about the money, but the legacy and etching your name in history as the best heavyweight fighter ever since the start of the sport, because nothing compares to that.
Sky's the limit. That's mostly why I do these things, because I wanted to be the biggest fighter in the history of fighting. And that's just my goal in life. That's what drives me. I want to be the biggest fighter to the history of life. That drives me. That drives me more than money. To be the best, be the biggest fighter since the beginning of life. And probably to the end of eternity.
With these statements from Mike Tyson flooding social media, Jake's comments on the whole situation are also getting highlighted, where he has mentioned that the main reason this fight is taking place is due to the acceptance from Tyson's camp.
I want to make it clear that Mike Tyson was the one who wanted it to be a pro fight. Mike got into training camp and called up people on my team, and we're like, let's do a pro fight. Is Jake down? Netflix was like, let's make it a pro fight. We're down. And I said to Nikisa, if that's what Mike wants, then that's fine. But make sure you tell Mike that there's no holding back. Whatever happens, happens. And this is war now.
Not letting Mike take the credit for all the hype surrounding this extravagant event, Jake has stated countless times that it was he and his team who meticulously crafted the extremely profitable deal. And it was they who brought a streaming service like Netflix into the game for the very first time in boxing history.
Ask Mike, I did ayahuasca, called him up and said, we're going to fight on the biggest stage possible. It's destiny. And now here we are, years later, actually making it happen. I was made for this moment, born to do this, and I'm going to put on the performance of a lifetime on November 15th, and the universe will align for all of its glory and good for God. I brought this deal to this old-ass motherfucker. We signed the contract with Netflix, and I brought him the deal. So you're welcome, my son. I'm going to discipline you like a son. So shut the fuck up with all that need this, need that. We brought you the deal. And remember that, too.
Understanding the statistics of big events like these, Dana White commended the involvement of big streaming services in mainstream combat sports, as this will not only prove to be quite profitable for everyone involved, but it will also give the fans what they have been yearning for.
Netflix should have gotten into live sports years ago. I think they're late to the game, but they are a force. They're a force, man. And when you look at the amount of homes that they're in worldwide.
Applauding Mike and Jake's teams for what they have been able to pull off, Dana stated that soon enough the fans will witness an influx of countless new events like these shown by Netflix or Amazon, because that is the future. And the current generation seems to be fixated towards these media outlets.
I watch Reacher whenever I want to. I can watch it when I get home. I can watch it next week. Right? Live sports like this event tonight, you had to watch tonight. As all these massive streaming companies start to get bigger and bigger, they have to be involved in live sports.
Safe to say you'll be talking to them when your TV deal comes up?
Being someone who has been close friends with Mike, Dana expressed his mixed emotions on this particular event, revealing that even though he appreciates the fight and its lucrative nature, he is still somewhat worried for Mike, who, considering the milestones he has achieved, should not be pushed into these things at this age.
I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Who gives a shit what I think? It's not my fight. I love Mike Tyson, personally as a friend, and he's one of my favorite athletes of all time. I don't know. Let's see what he can go in there and put together a training camp and come in and I don't like to see guys fighting it. A 31-year age difference during that fight.
Also excited about the event and the innovative involvement of new partners in the game, notable analyst and combat reporter Ariel Helwani believes that this fight will be remembered as one of the most eminent fights in the history of boxing due to its unique and eccentric nature.
Saw KSI tweet about it. I'm sure there are people who are gonna hate it, but look, it's not a pay-per-view, so it just comes with your Netflix subscription. That's what I've been told, and there's stuff that I want to find out. Texas Commission, I'm assuming, is sanctioning it. We're finding, and I haven't been on my phone because I was up. Massive story, and according to GC and Rick, the biggest story of the weekend, certainly from a business standpoint and a fight business standpoint.
Another important aspect that Ariel highlighted was that the sheer hatred and disregard from fans towards the organizers and promoters is unjust, because at the end of the day, they are not the ones who force the fighters to enter the ring and sign such deals.
Even though, I understood the game plan there, and this is a departure from that, just because you're working the assignment, working the card, it doesn't mean you necessarily are endorsing the whole freaking thing. I could tell you other broadcasters who are doing other fight events, it's not your place to plant your flag if you are called upon to work the assignment. Here on this show, I can sort of give my thoughts and wax poetic about certain things, but don't confuse the two.
However, even though some people might be coming around this fight with optimistic sentiments, the overall opinions surrounding this bout are still quite negative, where a vast majority has now turned on Mike's and Jake's team for forcing the veteran fighter's hand. Gareth A. Davies, who has been a devoted boxing reporter and analyst for decades, expressed his disappointment in fights like these, stating that even though Mike seemed to have accepted the deal, it should not have been presented in the first place, as it is disrespectful and a disgrace.
Can't relegate him to that. It's the great Mike Tyson, one of the greatest boxers in history. One of the most impactful professional fighters we've ever seen, a pugilist extraordinaire, a man who some would say, given what he had growing up, it's amazing that he's here in his late 50s. He's a wonderful human.
Gareth also mentioned the alleged dwindling state of Tyson's finances that might have pushed the fighter towards accepting this fight, stating that for a former champion and legend like Tyson to participate in these gimmicks due to a bad financial state is a very disheartening sight.
He's still got a bit of the wild man in him, but he's very, very wise these days. And it's a shame that he's having to box, because obviously he's going to get several million for it. He's going to be paid very, very well, and that's what this is all about. It's a shame he hasn't got huge amounts of money, but I'm sure he's doing it for good reasons for himself, to help members of his family or to...
Giving his analysis of the fight, Gareth stressed the fact that even though Jake might not appear to be the sentimental type yearning for a legacy, he would still want to end the fight in a spectacular manner involving knocking out Mike Tyson, which in hindsight can be very dangerous for Mike.
I'm concerned, yeah, I am. Because I think if Mike gets an injury this time, he'll go in anyway. What I don't want to see is get a beating. Jake Paul is big, likes what he's doing, enjoys it, and at the end of the day, Mike Tyson's 30 years older than him, and that's what worries me, Mike's age. It's as simple as that. So just don't want to see him get hurt. It's a safety concern more than anything else. Because Jake Paul will want a dramatic visual knockout, and it really creates legacy for him.
Sharing the same concern as Gareth, famous actor Russell Crowe sat down with Joe Rogan to discuss his views on current-day boxing, where he brought up the subject of the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, calling it a circus fest and a cheap attempt at making money at the expense of a legend and icon like Tyson.
For the both of them, that it transcends the sort of circus type atmosphere that's around it, you know?
Yeah.
That it's a legit fight and they both do well and nobody gets...
Russell also weighed in on Mike coming out of retirement and going back to compete in professional fights, stating that after the immense growth that Mike went through over the last couple of years, it feels as if this fight will reverse all that and will regress Mike into the same beast that he once was.
I went back, you know, backstage at the stadium at a fight, and I was like, I'm still terrified of you from watching you, you know? But then that guy he started becoming, where he became more explorative and he was looking into what, you know, the meaning of life and, you know, having a smoke every now and then and stuff like that, you know, I was like, I'm enjoying this, Mike. Yeah. You know, I'm liking the evolution. You know, what bothers me with this whole thing is that he's got to kind of, you know, slide back to that warrior, you know, and I'm just not sure he needed to do it.
Not holding back his words, and Kurt Emotion's former professional fighter and champion Carl Frog directly targeted Jake and his team for insisting on making this offer to Mike Tyson, knowing well enough that the old fighter has been suffering from various health issues.
It's just clown world. What's going on with Jake Paul and Tyson should not be happening. I'm totally against it. I hope Tyson can get in there, throw a few punches, land a few shots, get it with a few steady ones, maybe lose a points decision and not get hurt, but make a few quid. I think he's making between 8 and 12 million, Mike Tyson, so fair play to him for making a bit of money, but the whole thing for me is a show.
Carl also raised some serious questions for the organizing parties of this event, asking them about the reason for an absurd event like this and the possible strategies they might have to employ in case Tyson ends up getting seriously injured, because no matter what, he is still an old man.
The main problem I've got is if Mike Tyson gets injured, imagine Mike Tyson gets seriously hurt or seriously injured in this clown show. It'd be such a shame, and it'd be a real tragedy. I mean, any injury in boxing is a tragedy, but for Mike Tyson to jump in with this idiot and get caught with a couple of consecutive blows.
Regardless of all these outbursts fueled by valid anger, Carl appeared dejected about Mike's circumstances that might have pushed the iconic fighter to go against amateur and unethical fighters like Jake Paul, whose entire motive is to gain notoriety and quick fame.
The guy, Mike Tyson, who made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career and thoroughly deserved as well. Everybody wanted to see him fight. And I think it's a real shame if he's doing this just for the money, if he needs it. I know Netflix are paying a few quid. I'm not sure what the full deal is, but that's what I've read the other day, them figures. And that's decent money. But when you've made hundreds of millions and you've done what Mike Tyson's done, and you've fought the people he's fought, I mean, it's a real shame if he needs the money. I'm hoping he doesn't. I always think that Mike Tyson's one of them characters, one of them names, the iconic figures that can do anything and always make money. Wherever he goes, whatever he does. He's a pretty good speaker as well, by the way.
To prove his point that this fight has only been organized by the teams and promoters for lucrative gains, Carl added that throughout the press events and face-offs, the whole thing seemed devoid of any real animosity that is usually present during these appearances.
Tyson I think he's just going to be playing his role. In my opinion, Mike Tyson's probably got the script, because when I saw that press conference the other day, there was like a little bit of a shove by Tyson at the end, like a half-hearted shove. It was like there was like nothing in it. Jake Paul kind of didn't know what to do, was stood there, stern looking, not saying. I don't think he said anything, but it all just looked really contrived. It looked really fake. No, it's not even pantomime. It's worse than pantomime, because for me, as a professional boxer, retired pro boxer, it's just not enjoyable to watch.
Joe Rogan, who is known for his outlandish takes and opinions, also seems to agree with the idea that taking this fight was not a good idea for Mike, no matter what angle you look at it from, because the troubled fighter who found peace after years of turmoil is now being pushed to the same brutal mindset that he wanted to escape from.
On once when he was retired, and he was much heavier, and he was smoking a lot of weed, and he was contemplative and, you know, interesting and philosophical and just a fun guy to hang out with. And then I had him on again when he was about to fight Roy Jones Jr. and he had lost about 60 pounds. He looked shredded. He had muscles bulging in his arms, and he was very intense. It was like a completely different human being, and he was terrifying. Just being in the room was terrifying.
Looking back at the mentality that made Mike Tyson so ferocious, Joe emphasized that even though Mike might be physically older and might not possess the same defense that he once had, the staunch and tenacious mindset is still there. And this fight might have reignited that flame.
Part of the reason why he was so terrifying, his mindset was just unstoppable. He really thought that he could not be stopped. You don't exist. Only the task exists. Like, you don't exist. What you have to do exists. That's what you are.
Teddy Atlas, who has been Mike's coach and trainer during his days as a champion and professional fighter, reiterated the same ideas about Mike, commenting that even though Mike is old and weak compared to Jake, if he activated his old vicious persona, then he will most definitely triumph.
Tyson's talent was so great. His physical ability, his talent was so overwhelming, just like somebody's intellect, just somebody's charisma. Whatever, beauty, until it came to something else. But his talent was so superior that the other stuff never got tested. He was blowing guys out.
Teddy, who has been a prominent part of the boxing industry for more than 4 decades, questioned the legalities of this fight, commenting how, with the conflicting myriad of information that is being released, no one really knows if the fight is real or not.
As far as anything else, I don't know. But if it is real, the first couple of rounds are going to be dangerous for Paul. Even at 58, I don't care. They're going to be dangerous if it's real.
So in the end, what do you guys think about this fight? Do you think these new details revealed by Mike will change the general perception surrounding this already controversial event? Or do you think that these comments have no hidden meaning and that the event is legit? Make sure to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to our channel.